Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Today we're going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of December. And we're not only in a new month right now, but we're in a new year. And I just don't want to be talking about December anymore. I feel like I talked so much about all the things that I read in December because of vlogging just about every day. I had some vlog clips for those vlogs. And so I feel like I've talked about all these. When I realized I still needed to do a wrap up, I was a little bit ho-hum about it, but we're going to go through, talk about what I read in the month of December, because I do want to still do my year-end wrap up with all of the stats and everything. Before I can do that, I need to wrap up what I actually read in December. So I had 2 DNFs in December. I'm not going to talk about these at all. Mrs. Miracle Christmas by Debbie Maycomer. Didn't care for it, and I was just bored when I was reading The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C. So both of these are going to be going onto my Pango pile and getting out of my house. And then we're going to go through all of the books that I actually don't have hard copies of, so I'll put pictures here of them. A few of them were pretty Christmassy, so we'll do with those first. The Christmas Letters by Jenny Proctor I really enjoyed. It was like a Christmas time, you've got mail. A little kid writes a letter to Santa. Years later, this girl has to answer Santa letters, and she finds this old letter that got stuck in the box or something. And so she responds to this guy, and they start writing back and forth. Very sweet, very cute, Christmassy. I really enjoyed that one. Another fun Christmassy read was The Christmas Wager by Holly Cassidy. This was an enemies to lovers romance where this big city girl comes to a small town, competes with the shop owner's grandson in Christmas games for the rights of this Christmas shop, basically. Super cute. It also had some harder issues that the characters were dealing with. I really enjoyed that one as well. One of my Advent prompts this year was to read a book about a holiday other than Christmas at this time of year. So I read A Holly Jolly Diwali by Sonia Lally. This was a cute story. I didn't really care for it as much as I liked the other 2 Christmassy reads, but it was interesting to learn about Diwali, and like different groups and different religions and cultural groups have different reasons for celebrating Diwali. I thought that was unique and interesting. Other than that, it was not a memorable book. I don't really remember it and don't care to look it up. It was just fine. It was a good car ride read, because I didn't have to think about it too much. Definitely didn't get more than 3 stars because I can't remember it. A little novella that I read in the month of December was Evergreen Chase, which is part of the Shady Hollow mystery series. It takes place around the winter equinox, and they have these huge trees, and there's a caretaker of the trees. And so the tree that had been selected for this particular year was missing. So someone had stolen the tree. How on earth did someone steal a massive pine tree from the forest? So Vivian, our Fox reporter, is on the case again, and it's a lot of fun. I love these characters. I love this little town of Shady Hollow. I really enjoy this series very much. So this little novella, can it be called a novella? It's really a short story. I think it was maybe 36 pages. I read it on my Kindle. It was really cute. One of my Patreon picks, I picked a few extra Patreon books in the month of December, and one of the ones I actually got to was Appalachian Song by Michelle Shockley. This was a Christian fiction set in the Appalachian Mountains, and deals with adoption. Really, the story is the story of a young man who was adopted and his search for his birth family. And I thought that the adoption story was told really well. I definitely cried in this one, and thought it was a really good story. Really enjoyed it. I would have never picked it up had it not been a Patreon recommendation. So thank you so much to my patrons for recommending unique books. I love it. And then the other 2 that I don't have with me are the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 6 and Volume 7, which I read in December, and they are just the best. I think I gave Volume 6 5 stars and 7 4 stars, or 4.5. They're both fantastic. I was so excited about the course of the story, especially in Volume 6. I might have squealed out loud a little bit. I got so very excited about these friendships that Emma has, and a particular love interest that progressed in this story. The love relationship progressed a little bit, and it just was a delight. All of them have been a delight. I definitely plan on reading Volume 8 in January for Epistolary January, and then anxiously awaiting for Book 9. I think is coming out this year. We'll see. 3 other Christmassy reads that I read in the month of December were The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. I really loved revisiting this group of community theater people. In this one, we meet a handful of new characters, but also some of the old characters. Janice Hallett's unique style of mixed media, and the lawyers are back in this one again as well. The same who were there for the appeal itself. And I just really enjoyed this short little Christmas story with a little bit of murder. You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Tony Shiloh. I really enjoyed this one as well. A short little book. We follow Star, who is the youngest sibling in this group in this family. I think she has 4 or 5 siblings, and always has felt a little bit on the outside of things, and so moves away, doesn't connect with her family very much, but comes back home for Christmas this year and reconnects with a brother's best friend. And I really like the guy in here who does not fart around. Like, he makes his intentions very clear from the get-go. Miscommunication is not a trope in this book, and I loved it. I was just here for the straightforwardness of it, and watching their relationship blossom was really sweet. I enjoyed that one. And then I just at the very end of the month, technically on January 1st, but we're counting this as a December read, I finally read A Christmas Party by Georgette Heyer. She is an author that I have been wanting to read for a while, and I finally did. This book is a murder mystery, kind of a locked room, right? Isolated house. You know, the murderer is one of the people who were there for this house party. This group of people are almost like caricatures of people. Like, they were just extreme and kind of ridiculous, very mean to each other. It's a family of a brother and sister and their uncles, and the one uncle dies and the other uncle is there and his wife, and then a family friend, and the sister had brought a playwright. It just was a random collection of people. Their personalities kind of got on my nerves. I did think that this was too long, because a good section of it was just them all annoying each other. But knowing the outcome now, I do think there were clues being dropped during that time period when it was a little bit on the slow side. But I do wish I wish it was a bit shorter. It was like 396 pages. It easily could have been 296 pages. But it was a good story, and I definitely will read more from Georgette Heyer. I enjoyed it enough. I had 3 books that were actually on my Flip and Roll TBR for the month. Library of Legends is one of them. This I wished was a little more historical and a little bit less magical realism or fantasy, but it's about this group of college students in World War II. Japan is invading China, and these college students have to evacuate from their school. And this last group that it's evacuating is carrying with them the Library of Legends, which is this collection of 500 or so books in the library that holds original manuscripts of Chinese folklore and legends. But then the story turns at one point, and you realize that some of these legends and stories have come to life in a way, or have been a part of our world. And it was a little bit strange. I would have liked a little more of the historical side of things, but it was okay. A book that I really enjoyed, The Arctic Fury by Greer McAllister. I couldn't put this one down, but when I look back on it, there was a lot of things that I wanted differently. This has dual timelines. We follow adventurer Virginia, who is sent on this mission, an all-female mission, to go find out what happened to these men who never returned from the Arctic. And so this all-female group goes to the Arctic and tries to figure stuff out. It's a bit of a survival story, very cold, perfect for the winter. And then also we're in the courtroom. So something had happened. One of the women dies. I think a couple of the women died, but one in particular, her parents are suing Virginia for murder, ultimately. And so it's a murder case in the courtrooms. And so we're getting that side of things, but also then going back and from the beginning, watching this group of explorers get put together and get sent out. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. I would have liked more of the relationship of the women while they were on the trek, because you see the bond between some of them, and you see how some of them don't connect anymore. And I wanted more about why and what they had to go through. But at the same time, I couldn't put it down while I was reading it. So do with that what you will. The other book on my TBR was Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is a YA fantasy, and I really enjoyed this. If you like Amari and the Night Brothers, this is like the next level of that. We have a young strong black woman who is the main character here. It's in a school setting, but a collegiate school setting instead of a high school setting. The magic is a bit darker, and it also is involved around Arthurian legends, like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table legends. It's all based on that, but also African American folklore and legend and magic is mixed in there as well. It was really cool. Very dark. They're fighting creatures from the abyss, creatures from hell, ultimately hellhounds and all of that. And that part I didn't love, but I did like Bree for the most part. I mean, she annoyed me here and there, but that makes sense for a YA. Yeah, I will continue with this series for sure. I have 3 left to talk about. Towards the end of the month, I had 2 more kind of random books, and one of them I picked up because I wanted to get another NetGalley book read, and so I grabbed The Teacher of Nomadland, a World War II story by Daniel Nayeri. I did read this and write the review, and it did not move up my score at all, which was kind of a bummer. But this was a 5-star middle grade for me. I loved, it's set in Iran during World War II, and it just was really interesting to read a World War II story set in the Middle East. Follow a young boy and his little sister. They are left orphaned very early in the story, and they go try to join up with the nomads and who their father taught. I think their mom was a part of the nomad tribes, but the dad was teaching them. And so the little boy grabs his dad's chalkboard and they have to evacuate where they live, and definitely a survival story, definitely pretty harrowing. It's a short little book though, and it was just about these 2, brother and sister, and their relationship with each other, which was really great. I loved the relationship between the brother and sister. Yeah, it just was super interesting. I liked that one very much. One that I didn't like as much as I hoped was The Fellowship of Puzzlemakers by Samuel Burr. In this, we follow Clayton, who was left at the stoop of the Fellowship of Puzzlemakers. And so we follow Pippa, who finds Clayton, and we have 2 timelines. Very early on in the book, we learn that Pippa has died, and Clayton now wants to look up and try to find out where he is from and how come he was left as a baby. And Pippa had put together these puzzles and scavenger hunt almost for him to follow. But along the way, she's hoping that he gets a little adventure and learns more about himself and who he is and who his people are and all of that. So we're following that storyline, but we're also following Pippa back in time when she is just creating this Fellowship of Puzzlemakers and the collection of people who gather together to become a part of this commune almost. And I loved the past storyline. I really liked Pippa and the other people, Nancy and Earl and Hector, all of the people that we get to know who are part of this Fellowship of Puzzlemakers. I didn't so much care for Clayton. I felt like his character felt really flat. We didn't really get to know him very well, so I didn't care as much about him discovering where he came from. I just didn't care. I loved Pippa, and I wanted to be back with the people in the Fellowship and hear more about their stories. But I did think that it came together really well at the end, and it's a solid 3.5 stars for me. But I can't give it a 4 because I'm not going to be recommending this to everybody. I just think it was good. I'm glad that I read it, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping for. And finally, we have a book that I just absolutely loved, Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This wraps up the trilogy of the Live Ship Traders, which is the 2nd trilogy in Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings. And I absolutely loved this. A lot of things get wrapped up from the first 2 books. We learn a lot more about the serpents and their role in things. We see about dragons. The villains were villaining. I wanted more. I wanted more justice for some of the things that the villains had done. I didn't feel like they got their comeuppance enough, but I did really, really love this whole trilogy, which surprises me because I don't always love books that are set on ships. And because this is the 3rd one, I can't talk about it too much, but I'm really excited to carry on with this overall series and dive into the next trilogy. But I really, really love Robin Hobb. I love the way she can write such a complex character. Even all the side characters felt complex. The serpents felt complex. The ships, the live ships felt complex. Everything. she just does such a good job of diving into the personalities of each of her characters and exploring them. And I didn't feel like there was any really flat characters. Everybody is so well-rounded and nuanced, and the good and the bad were not all good or not all bad. There was one, by the end, he was a huge villain for me, but earlier on in the series, I kind of loved that he was a little morally gray. I'm like, do I like him? Do I not like him? I couldn't tell. I definitely don't now, but I love that there was that questioning all the way through for me. So fabulous, fabulous series. I highly recommend Robin Hobb for those who want to dive into like epic fantasies. And that's going to wrap up December for me. It was a really good reading month, which is amazing with all the other stuff I had going on. I really enjoyed especially doing all of my Advent prompts throughout the month. I hope that you enjoyed. I know many of you talked about enjoying those as well, watching me go through all of those festive activities. So here are the books that I read in the month of December. It's crazy how blue this stack is, plus the 6 more that I don't have print copies of. It's crazy. They are very much in the same color scheme. I would love to chat with you down below about any of the books that I read during the month of December, or any of the books that you ended out the year with. Anything that you want to recommend to me. I love getting recommendations from you and hearing about your reading month as well. And if you made it to the end but you're not feeling chatty, give me a little cheers. Those little wine glasses that are cheersing for the Happy New Year. Leave that emoji in the comments just to let me know that you were here. I love seeing who was here. And I appreciate you all for spending a few minutes of your day with me. And I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.